Welcome back to the winter wonderland. Yes, so at the end of last episode, that water trough was not functioning. As you can see, it is cleaned off, and it was a quick fix. Yes, the little valve, the little shuttle thing, it was froze up. So yesterday we had about 4 inches of snow. I was cleaning it all up yesterday. That was kind of where you saw. Hey Stumpers, there's my girl. So then last night there was supposed to be a little chance of snow, and we had almost a foot. Yeah. So the great part about having this blade, this halves the amount of time that I spend pushing snow and the amount of diesel I burn pushing snow. But yes, it does mean I'm gonna have to go and rebed everything. So there's that. Yeah. See, this is Stumpers. This is my cow. The family has there's Ike and there's Squirts and that, but this is my cow. Whenever there's any trouble in the pen, if there's a cow calving and she's being ornery, Stumpers comes and protects me. It's no word of a lie. Like clockwork. And yes, she only has half ears. Same thing. Just like Leia. She had frozen ears. We kept her. She's one of the best mums. Her daughter is now in here. I think there might be a third generation coming up the pipe this year for Stumpers. Look at, she's just waiting on me. They want some new food. They don't mind that hay, but they do like some of that alfalfa brought out here, and that's what she's waiting on. Look at her, she's just staring. So, snow, and more snow to push. And it's supposed to be some mild temperatures coming next week, so hopefully that roof will get cleared off again. So, that's where we're at. About one more step to get this truck down the road. Ooh, you rubber. They're nothing fancy. Terra Max AT Sailing, I have no idea. They were an average tire, decent tread. Fitted, balanced, all that good stuff. $2,000 on the nose. So for 6 tires today, yeah, you're doing well to do that, because I think the 4 chunkier tires on that other 1 ton there were close to that. It was about 1,700 for 4 tires for that one. So $2,000 for 6. Good enough. Laying there, right? We're getting there. So, my biggest thing is to get all the tubs from over there emptied. All the stuff that is of any worth put into my little tubs. And bring them over here and then start amalgamating them into all the groupings. Like bolt sizes and bolt lengths, nuts, clamps. Yeah. It's gonna be a long process. But funny thing is, in my search for more floor space, and here we are. I realized I don't need to go and get another vise for here, at least for the time being, because I realized I had one. Yeah, bought this years ago, because I have blacksmithing stuff. I do have a furnace, and there's all my tongs in there. Yeah, so I had bought this, what do they call them, leg vices? Started cleaning it up, but I just really wanted to get the jaws as matched as possible. Like, they're not bad, but you can tell it's lived a life. That tells a story. It'll do me. But funny part was, in my digging this out, wait till you see the press drill that comes with it. I just gotta figure out somewhere to put it, because that beam is not strong enough. I might end up putting a bigger beam in here. So there you go. Yeah. Old school, cool school. Whew. She's a cold one. We're getting to the end of that cold snap. It's like minus 30 something last night. So yeah, we're getting close to calving time. This wee lassie has dropped her nipples, and as you can see, she's quite wide. She is top of the list on the watch. She's getting fresh at the back. Some of the other ones are getting a wee bit wide. Little JJ over here, her nipples descended this week too. Can't see them so much today. Maybe she pulled them back up. So she's second, but she's top of the list. So yeah, we're getting into the close zone. Keeping an eye on everything. Mrs. Piper Doug checks the camera every morning, just to be sure. Hey, Star. So yeah, that one there's looking quite deep too, but she doesn't have much in the way of nipple sign. It's kind of more of a heifer thing, because once the nipples descend, that's them entering womanhood. So yeah. Yes, and there's always one inside the bale feeder. Oh, no, she's not in there. She's just reaching through. Hi. And water trough is behaving. Yay. We good? Okay. So yeah, apparently tomorrow's supposed to be minus 6. Ooh. So, see the problem with being so cold? Now you end up with all these boulders like this. So yeah, we'll end up having to try and clean this out. That way we have the back here for mums and new babies. Yeah. So, holy moly. So sadly, yesterday found a little bit of bad news. Found a calf in the back end of that middle pen. It must have got buried in the snow. Sorry, my hand's getting numb. Must have got buried in the snow, and some critters had got through it through the night. So it was kind of eating a little bit, but very doubtful it was ever alive. So I think it was a thrown calf, where the mum aborted it close to the end. I think I know which cow it was too, because she's an older cow. So whether she had like a slip and fall, a stumble, or another cow hit her, caused her to abort. Hey, Leah. So yeah, kind of sad, but it happens. So yeah, sadly the first calf on the ground at the Shire farm was not a good one, but it's part of the deal. So yeah, just take a wee quick walk through just to make sure everyone's all good. Hey, squeakers. So yeah, you really gotta watch your footings when you're walking through the pens during these cold times. You end up throwing an ankle, twisting your ankle or something. Here's old Jetter. This is Jetter's last year. She's 20 now. Hey, girl. Just like your big sister, the ancient one. She left last year. Yeah. Yeah, she will not go to the bull this year. Okay, gonna go and push the hay in. Get about getting. Well, how are you all doing now? It's story time with Piper Doug. So it's Sunday, the day of rest. The cold weather is supposed to be ending. Doesn't feel like it. Spoiler alert. So yeah, it's blowing like a bugger. It's still like minus 15 or 20 or 40 or whatever the heck it is. So yeah, yesterday was Saturday. So I decided one thing that Mrs. Piper Duck loves more than cows is hockey. So we decided there was a game close by. We'd have supper and we'd head off and go and take in a nice hockey game. Might see a scrap or two. So we went to Rivers. The Rivers Jets senior team, I don't know if it's senior team, but it's like the older kids. They were playing against Elkhorn. Looking to see some scraps. I'll put in some video. So yeah, there was some decent plays, a little bit of scraps. It was a good night. So we head for home. It's only a 20-minute drive from Rivers to the Shire here. So we pulled down the lane, you know. Lovely to be home. So I'm going to pull into the driveway and Mrs. Piper Duck says, "Hey, let's just go and check on the ladies. We're getting close to calving time. You never know." So, okay. So we turn and we come along the end of those bales to that gateway there, and we are greeted by a bunch of cows. Yeah. Not where they're supposed to be. So we panic because we're like, well, what are they? Are they first timers? Are they second timers? Because they look small. But turns out they are like third and fourth timers from this pen. Because that lower cable had snapped. Yeah. So the problem with these cables is, over time, when they're wearing through the guides, because these all have to be replaced, I was hoping to get this through till next year, like that. See them scratching? So yeah, it's like a saw. Because next year, this is all being rebuilt into head stall. the cable snapped. So they just start walking through. So this is where I give a huge shout out to my wonderful wife, best friend and business partner, because she kept me sane and from going to get a gun. She wrangled the animals like a champ. I had to go and get the tractor started, and then we were trying to get them round the gate into the end of the feed rail and back into this area, or at least into this pen. And they weren't really having much of it because they were kind of scared of the car. So yeah, after about half an hour of running and chasing and jumping and yelling and throwing things, there's a snow shovel over there somewhere, we got them in here. So then the problem was to try and keep the rest in. Well, that after we had figured out there was no other, because they can go all the way down and out the bottom of the yard. Because yes, we don't have any way to close the yard in yet. It's in the plans, people. That's why I got the welder. So then the problem was to at least make this cable one again and try and hold them in. So, as you can see, there's a ratchet strap right there. So I had some cable clamps, made loops on the end of the broken cables, and here's a ratchet strap to pull it back as tight as I could. Went and got some chains to wrap around the posts with the cable so they couldn't push it around too much. And once that was done and all the animals were back in together, I put the bales here just in case. And luckily enough, not through the night, not this morning, but after lunch, there was two. Pushed the cable back up and we're out. So, that was fun. So, yeah, that's why we're replacing the cable. Because I don't want any of these chances. Now, fair enough, this cable has been up for over 20 years. So it's done a lot of miles. Can't really see it at this end, but at the far end there, it's a 9/16 cable, and there's some spots where it's about 3/8. So that's kind of where it's snapped. So I've still got some spool of cable left, so I'm going to bring it down and replace that far end. And then I'm going to be getting the welder generator out of the workshop and firing it up. Start welding the new clamps back onto the pole. Like I said, it's going to get us through this winter, and then it's getting totally rebuilt. So I don't want to do too much to it. But so yeah, how was your Saturday night? Yeah. So needless to say, it was still about minus 25, close to minus 30 at one point last night with wind chill. That was not fun. Oh, and before you ask, those bales were there. They were not hungry. They were picky. Why? Because this stuff is here. That's the third cut alfalfa that I lay along the feed rail. You'll have seen it in pictures. If not, I'll stick one in here. So they were pushing out to get to the rest of it. Yeah. And on other bad news this week, I've noticed coyotes and magpies and crows hanging around the yard. Hadn't really figured it out. I'll enter a video here. So yeah, managed to throw some little bits of lead at those two coyotes. Got the one the first time, gave him a spank and sent him on his way, and then I think I clipped the second one. He hasn't been back, but I don't know if I really hit him. Well, turns out we've had a calf already. We're about 3 weeks away from the big herd calving, 3 to 4 weeks. So it looks like one of these, she's a little bit older, not old, but she's a little bit older, threw a calf, little red calf. And it was laying up in the straw, but it got buried in the straw. And then the critters were picking at it. So I couldn't tell by the teeth, because there was nothing left of the muzzle. I couldn't tell by that just how preemie it was, but it was smaller, so. Sad to say the Shire's calving season has started, but not in the note that we'd like it to. So yeah, not great, but it's part of calves. Part of having cows, really. This is something we've been working towards. Like I said, our plan is to replace the existing feed rails and this side as well, and then build the new one the right way the first time. Because when we first built this, cable feed rails were what you do. When some people have great luck with them. But yeah, rule of thumb is, like, at a certain point, inspect the cables and know when to change them out, or you're going to be chasing cows. So yeah, look for that. That'll be a big project coming up in the next year, like this year through this winter. Because I'm hoping to get most of this done this winter, and then this project here will be this year. So anyway, I best get on. Look at them all just waiting to test me. Yeah, the benefit of the benefit of living in oil country is you can get your hands on this stuff. Now the funny part is, the last time this cable moved was 22 years ago, 23. So I don't know how much is left on here, but it should be enough to get this repaired, so. Let's see how I unroll this. Well, that didn't work out very well. So yeah, when they rolled it up, they must not have cleaned it very well, because it looks like inside where the layers of the cable were spooled up, it was still full of the brine from the wells. So yeah, it's absolutely rotten. So, switch of plans. I'll let you know when I figure it out. It's about 300 feet of cables, all scrap. So yeah, when you can't take the cows to the hay because the feed rail is jiggered, take the hay to the cows. So yeah, I blew out the good hay out on their bedding pan, so they'll pick a way through it, lay down there, whatever. That lets me come in here and put the oat bales into the rings. That way they keep out of my way. So I have a feeling this video's running on a bit here. Georgie! Georgie! What are you doing in the bale? You're terrible. Yes, that's Puddin's. Is that Puddin's daughter? Yeah, Puddin's daughter. Hey, Leia. Squirks! Squirks! So, yeah, better wrap this up. What am I doing? Well, the good thing about having all these panels is that in emergencies you can temporarily block off the whole side of the pan. It doesn't have to be perfect, and we're not going to chain them all together. I think I have to chain that one there because it's a lighter panel. So yeah, they're fairly happy now. So what's the plans? What's happening? Because as you saw in one of the previous clips, I think I put it in here. The spare cable that we had left over from when we built this, that spool of cable is all garbage. So what are we doing? Well, if you look here, this top cable has hardly any wear in it. The only time this top cable sees any action is when the cows are going along the cable, just having a scratch and an itch, especially at the buckles here. So, because I don't have the time to get at the big feed rail project, what I'm doing is I'm going to pull this top cable out and I'm going to feed it back in here. So I'm switching the top cable to the bottom. I don't know if I've showed, but my birthday present, the big welder, is now in the back of my Ford truck. So it's about to get fired up because I've got a whole bunch of these plates that came from RF now. They're for holding like radio antennas on poles and things. So they'll be pretty good at replacing most of these things that have worn out. So yeah, I'll just come along here and clean these up and then weld a bunch of those over top of here just to get us through this winter. Like I said, this cable going to the bottom because of that. So yeah, that's why it broke here. So there's a few spots like in there. That's pretty bad. So I'm going to start unbuckling and clamping and all that good stuff. Yeah, see, this is going to be a heck of a job because look at that. This feed rail has lots of ins and outs, and it's like at the ground level, so I'm going to have a lot of pulling and pushing when I'm building this feed rail, so the cows can't be here. So sorry, it's all over the place. Baler, truck. Oh yeah, the other update. Oh, my hand's going numb. The other update is my Dodge is back away at a workshop. So got new tires on it, as you saw, and I've noticed the truck has been running kind of rough. So called Jody's Repair, Dennis, the wonder guy, my mechanic. Called him because I know that there's a new guy there that his bread and butter is Dodge Cummins. So he used to work at a shop up in Hamiota. I think it's now closed because the owner passed away. Wanted to take a look at it, and it very well might be my truck needs a new turbo. And I was told if I'd went to the dealership, it would have been 10 grand. Because the turbo has an actuator computer system, because that's how the engine brake works. The exhaust brake is through the turbo. So they said they can get me a reconditioned one, jobber, for 5.5 grand, which will be more than adequate for the job. Plus the fact that I'm selling the dually, I don't want to go putting a whole pile of money into it. So it's currently away at Jody's getting checked over, because I just wanted them to make sure it wasn't something to do with the fire that happened last year when the axle went, the oil went everywhere, because this started happening right after that. It might be a burnt wire, so who knows, it might be a cheap fix. Fingers crossed. So yeah, everybody pray for my truck. Anyway, I'm gonna get it doing this because it is Monday. It's supposed to be 0. Wind chill about -13 right now, so I'm gonna get on because it's not warm, even though it kind of looks lovely. But yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like. We'll see you next week. Daddy bye. Isn't that right, bud?